everyone. Welcome to an extremely belated episode of Wrestling Sheet Radio. I can finally talk again, so I am back here in the office at Collider, although I did work from home again today. The 90,000 people at WrestleMania, however many it was.
Yeah. Wait, what was the number? 82?
Something like that. It's a lot of freaking people.
Yeah.
Being around that many people, working till 5 in the morning every night. Just got to me.
Yeah,
I was drinking. Sure. I was working.
Yeah.
It was cold. It was raining
you don't have
on
to
me.
Explain like what happens after WrestleMania weekend. I had the shakes after WrestleMania weekend.
well, I just feel bad because it's like it's been so long now since WrestleMania. I feel like, and it hasn't actually been that long.
It's been a couple days,
but it feels like it's been forever already.
Yeah.
And so I've just for days I've had so many people writing me just like, where are the podcasts? Are you not going to do any podcasts?
Did you have any people being like, thank God he can't talk? Or did you not tell people that you couldn't talk?
No, I didn't have any like that. No, thankfully. I'm sure there were. I wasn't banned. I've been really trying hard not to vanity search anymore. So maybe there were and I didn't see it. I don't know. But I'm here, as always, with Elijah Bates,
Hello,
my co-host.
everybody.
Jamie is not here. It's funny. He wrote me yesterday and he goes, hey, you're still sick? Probably not going to do the show tomorrow, right? And I was like, no, we're going to do the show tomorrow. I was like, oh, well, I'm not going to be there. And I was like, he was like really hoping I'd be like, oh, no, I'm still sick, dude. Can't do it.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case. And then Kevin had to deal with some family stuff. And honestly, we have so much to discuss.
Dude, let's play a game of ping pong right now.
I that's exactly
like
what I was
Forrest Gump
thinking.
Ping pong playing the table by himself. We'll go back and forth like that.
My thoughts exactly. And, I'm just going to look. Normally we talk about the top stories of the week, but I feel like with there being so much stuff going on that over the past couple days that I have not been able to do shows on, I think that is more so what people want to hear me talk about, just everything that's happened the past couple days.
Steamroll. Let's do it.
Steamroll it. So I got there on Friday.
Yeah.
That was the day of TakeOver. I'm sorry, I left on
Thursday, didn't you?
Thursday.
Yeah.
Sorry, left there on Thursday, but was popping on Friday, ready to go for Friday. I went to WrestleCon. That's where I got Eli to show up the shirt I got. I tweeted a picture of it, but I went to WrestleCon. I got this shirt for Eli. It's the 27-year anniversary of the barbershop window incident.
Like this is the nicest thing you could have ever gotten from me, I feel like. Because I'll wear this. I'm going to New Orleans this weekend for a wedding, and I'm 100% wearing this. Because people be like, what the hell is the barbershop incident, and why are you commemorating the 27th anniversary of it?
Not 25, not 30.
This isn't a prestigious year, although it is 3 cubed.
Yes, but no one's ever been like, oh, hell yeah, it's my 27th birthday, dog. Like,
I had a pretty good 27th birthday.
Yeah, but it wasn't like, you were like, oh, hell yeah, it's 27 times,
I don't do that, what you're doing, though. I'm like, yeah. Like, what is that? I don't know. I mean,
you've never done that ever?
I probably done.
Yeah, you probably do it all the time. Yeah. But anyways, I love WrestleCon every year. It's funny.
No, this is great. Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course. That was funny to me because, I walk up and Marty has his own little area over there, and he's got like a fake barbershop.
Jannetty.
Yes, Marty Jannetty has his own like fake barbershop window setup, kind of, and he's like letting people like as if they're throwing him through the glass, but it's not like the kind you would see at Access. Yeah. It's just like a wall that looked blue, kind of. Like, it's like his barbershop window, kind of like makeshift thing.
I assume it looks a lot like his actual barbershop.
Probably. And then, there was other things there. I loved Lapel, their company, and they had a booth there, and it was so cool. Like some of the stuff they had it was like a pizza shop. It looked like a pizza shop in there, but it was just selling wrestling merch. Yeah, which was a pretty cool kind of gimmick they had going on for WrestleCon. And they had one of my favorite things, one of the only things I actually bought because it cracked me up so much, they had a Sexual Awakening sticker pack where it was just like wrestlers in like really risque positions. I think I put some on my computer here, like this Goldust one or this Lita one. Shawn Michaels here.
Look at Shawn Michaels.
There's one where it's just Billy.
Shawn Michaels looks like the mom in the meme where they're like, "Can I speak to the manager?" He has kind of that side swipe going on.
Just kind of
Carol.
There's another one of Billy Gunn just like in boxers on the beach that I wanted to put on there, but it's a little too much. Yeah, it's a little too much. Yeah. It's funny too.
Play safe.
I always get scared going to WrestleCon because I mean, like, there are people who dislike me. Yeah. There are some wrestlers who dislike me.
Yeah. I mean, what's the likelihood that anybody's going to do anything, though, too?
It's always my thought, but
But I don't know. I mean, they're wrestlers too.
Well,
so
Santino recently went on his show saying really mean things about me and how he insinuated he would have words with me if he saw me in person.
Yeah.
So I was like, I told James as we were walking in, I was like, the one person I don't want to see is Santino Marella. I just don't feel like doing it. 'Cause he probably will say something to me. And then I walk in and I go to that lapel area, and then Shad and JTG were there, and I'm talking to Shad and JTG. And thank God Shad was there. And thank God Shad is 7 feet tall and really big. And if a problem were to arise, he would at least step in and calm the situation down.
Yeah.
But I see I'm talking to Shad, we're talking about something, and then over my shoulder, someone says something to him, and he's talking over my shoulder to someone. Yeah. And then I turn around, I realize it's Santino, and he's having a full combo with Santino.
Did Santino realize it was you?
If he did, he didn't say anything.
Yeah.
I was very concerned. The whole oh God, I don't want this drama. I just got here to New York. I don't want to deal with this.
Wow.
And then I walk away from there. I'm talking to Joey Janela for a second, and then I turn another corner, and it's Val Venus's area, and I'm oh no, walking the other direction.
Hit the brakes.
But other than that, it was great. I loved WrestleCon.
Yeah.
But then that night was TakeOver, and I'm not gonna lie, I had a pretty shitty view of TakeOver.
Yeah. Did it ruin the show for you?
Kind of did.
Okay. Did you go back and watch it since then, or have you not had a chance to?
Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to
it makes
fully
sense.
rewatch TakeOver
yet. It makes
yet.
sense. It's you've been doing a lot of stuff. There's been a lot of wrestling over the last 6-7 days.
I did rewatch WrestleMania today. Not all of it, but the biggest moments of it, because I was similarly far as fuck away.
Yeah.
In the press box, working half the time.
Yeah.
Writing stuff, getting stuff up, missing little moments along the way. So what's... I'm just going to look at something without saying what I'm looking.
Certainly.
But because everyone, a lot of text messages about something. Oh, yeah, I thought this was stupid. Okay,
right.
Anyways.
Okay.
This is the Dijakovic thing today. I've been wondering what was going on.
Okay.
Whatever. I got to look into this more today, but I got a lot of text messages at once about it. But anyways.
That's news. That's the news business.
That is the news business. So with TakeOver, it's tough because I really was on almost the last row. And so I don't...
Why did they give you those tickets?
I don't know. It was the whole media was sat there. I don't know.
Where's the other people from the media right there?
I can't say it was just me and it was a personal thing. It was literally everyone in the media was sat in the same section. And we were all in 5 rows away from the wall. And so I would love to have more... intricate takes on the matter.
Yeah.
But it was really hard to see anything, and so I really lost interest, kinda.
Yeah.
I don't usually sit that far away. I just don't. I don't.
I've sat that far away many times before, but also, initial experiences of going to WWF events, F in the day, at the San Jose Shark Tank and stuff like that. We used to get nosebleeds all the time.
See, I think that's my problem, and maybe I'm just spoiled, and people are like, oh, it's spoiled Hollywood asshole. But I honestly, I can only think of a handful of times where I've sat and I remember them all, and I remember not enjoying them.
And I really haven't had a nosebleed experience, outside of at a wrestling event, let's say, for a long time. Even, WrestleMania 31, I was fairly close-ish, definitely, 30 rows back or whatever, but with a good view and everything like that. But it definitely, I've had far side of the Staples Center top section looking down at the ring, which is so far away. And it does get to a point where you miss all the nuances of the performance outside of the bigger visuals.
Absolutely. And also, when it's definitely that part of things. It's that it's hard for me to fully take it in when I don't even hear them hitting each other. It's so far away.
And if you look at match with Dream and Riddle, there was a lot of story was told with their faces and stuff like that. It's when you can't have that connection with them necessarily. The end of that match, I feel Matt Riddle's facial expression was everything.
And I also feel I can handle nosebleeds at a Raw.
Yeah.
Because I don't, and even more so at WrestleMania, not WrestleMania, but Raw. Raw and SmackDown.
Get it, because
Raw and SmackDown, it's a TV show.
Yeah, it's a show. It's less, the Raw and SmackDown is less about the matches.
Yeah,
it's more about the story.
More about the story.
And so, when you go to, especially a TakeOver event, and an NXT event in general, I would say is more about the wrestling, and a TakeOver event is dramatic, wrestling storytelling in the ring, So it definitely understand like why you didn't necessarily have the positive experience that I did.
And it's funny too because I saw all you guys texting in the group chat and everyone else how much they loved the show.
Yeah.
I will say this much though, I complained to a friend of mine who I was texting a few people and they were like, well, the person who was in my comp went backstage already. Do you want to just go sit in their comp up like near the front? And I was like, more than anything in the world. And so they were like, okay, cool, here's the ticket number. And so I cruised down to that seat and it was like much closer to the floor this time and I could see the wrestlers.
Yeah.
And so
at what point in the card was that?
Women's title match.
Okay.
So I saw the women's title match and I saw the Gargano versus Adam Cole match. So I do have those barometers. And I will say this much. Women's title match was dope.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought that, Bianca Belair is such a star.
Yeah.
I think that Kyrie and Io are dope. I like how they built up to the tension between the two of them finally having to fight each other.
Yeah.
I liked all of that. The spot that Bianca did where she did like a psycho driver type move to Kyrie and Io.
Yeah.
So badass.
Yeah.
I honestly, I had no problem with Shayna retaining the title either. No. I thought that it added some sense of I wonder what's gonna happen with tomorrow now.
Yeah, for sure. And I also say I'm shocked that Velveteen Dream retained the title too. Like I really thought, they really played it like he was. Sometimes I feel like you go into a match and you're just like, well, I know this is going to be a good match, but I know the way it has to end and everything. When it doesn't, it definitely throttles you a little bit, especially like when it's right next to WrestleMania like that, because you're like, who's getting called up? And so it's just like I think everybody expected Velveteen Dream was going to get the call up and everything, and I think that they played that really well because I was shocked whenever he pulled that one out.
I almost think that it's Riddle who's going to get called up now.
You think so?
I kind of do. I almost think that they want to keep Velveteen Dream as like the NXT mainstay of the Golden Boy. He's young, dude.
No, it's just like and not only that, but like I could understand them doing that as a way to kind of impress that responsibility upon him, but also just like the humility that comes with that too, where it's just like, hey, see other people get called up before you who came in after you. That's a hard pill to swallow, I'm sure.
I'm sure it is, absolutely. Especially when he's doing the whole call me up Vince gimmick and all that kind of stuff. Absolutely. The Gargano match. I've seen them wrestle before, Gargano, Adam Cole. And I gotta say, like, this main event exceeded my expectations. I don't think I was as hyped for the match as I would have been for the final match of Ciampa versus Gargano.
Yeah.
But that being said, these guys had me giggling like a child in the crowd. I felt it. Those near falls, I feel like it takes a lot to actually make me think the match is about to end.
Yeah.
Or to actually make me think it's going to end.
Or to like shock you when it doesn't end.
When it doesn't end. Where I'm like, I totally thought that was the finish. And then I'm like, no!
Yeah.
I love it. I love that. And I think this match fully did that for me.
Yeah.
Obviously, when there's a 2 out of 3 falls situation, it's always going to go to this situation where it's 1 and 1 each or whatever.
Yeah.
But just those final near falls, man, like I literally was like, like hitting the guy next to me, like,
I wonder if there's ever been a great 2 out of 3 falls match that ended in 2 falls.
No way. I'm going to say that, and I'm going to get bombarded with people.
Actually. No, but I wonder, because formulaically speaking, you're right. 1 and 1, for into the final fall is like what makes the most sense and everything like that.
That's why I always like Iron Man matches more.
Yeah.
Even if it's like a 30-minute Iron Man match or something like that, because I feel like the Iron Man match concept, you go like, it's not a given that they're going to have to get 1 and 1 to get that final fall.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
you can at least play with it a little bit more.
Like the Shawn and Bret match, as for instance, went 0-0 until it went into overtime or whatever.
That's why I like the Gauntlet match. Or sorry, not Gauntlet. The
Iron Man
match more. But really, did you like that match too? The Gargano Cole?
Absolutely. I like that whole event. I thought that from start to finish, it was really fantastically well done. I loved the event starting out with the War Raiders coming out too. That was a killer entrance that they had, and I feel like that set the tone for this event that hit its crescendo, obviously with Gargano and Cole.
It's funny.
Is that bad that his name just escaped me?
No.
I feel like if there's anybody that would happen with, I feel like it's Adam Cole.
He does have his name's very.
I like Adam Cole a lot, but there's sometimes where I'm just like, I don't know if he's going to make it in the WWE system.
I feel the same way always. And it's not that I'm saying he can't, but I do wonder that always when I see him. Even with this match, I go like, man, he's a lot smaller than most.
I just don't know what they would what they would do with him, like I have
a hard time believing Vince would ever see him as a viable threat to anyone.
Correct.
That's how I look at it.
I would agree with that sentiment for sure.
I do think he's talented.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it from looking at from what we've seen in history.
Yeah. To be honest with you, whenever this match was announced, I wasn't that excited for it. I mean, they obviously, are both great in the ring and everything and told a fantastic story. But I wasn't underwhelmed by it, but I was just like, obviously I wanted the match that we all wanted and everything like that. And this is kind of a follow-up. I felt like it was a foregone conclusion that Gargano was going to win the title.
Yes. I also, with Adam Cole, I wonder how he could make himself
bigger,
tougher.
Yeah.
No, because it's not even a bigger thing. Because it's weird. I don't see that. I don't feel that same way with Roddy.
Yeah.
And, you know what it is? Is I don't. It's the main event factor. I don't think he'll ever get into the main event in WWE.
I just feel like the size level that he's at, that somebody, of that size is kind of going to be destined for the Spike Dudley role.
Yeah.
Or the Crash Holly role or something
along those lines. And he's too cool for that. So I wonder how.
But it's just where does he fit in then? Because his style of wrestling in a lot of ways doesn't necessarily feel the same as 205 Live. I'm sure he could do great things over there. I just don't know if guys like that I think have been main event in NXT, if they're interested to go to 205 Live.
Oh, they're not. I don't think they are.
Yeah.
I really don't think they are.
I mean, there's only so much longevity there.
And also, there's more eyes on you in NXT than there are in 205 Live.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on from NXT was the next night. It was Hall of Fame and G1 Supercard. We'll start off with the Hall of Fame stuff because I hate to say this, but I was at G1 Supercard. But because there were two big kind of things that happened during the Hall of Fame that definitely took my attention away from the event a little bit because I had to get those stories up as well.
Yeah.
The first of which being Bret Hart being attacked.
Yeah.
That was one of the craziest things I've seen in so long.
Yeah, for sure.
I was so offended.
That's the craziest fan getting in the ring thing that's ever happened that caused a disturbance in an event.
It has to be.
I can't think of another one where it was high profile and where the person, the wrestler involved,
so beloved,
but also not. I don't want to say helpless, but is definitely in a debilitated state from where he was when he was in his prime, and to see that. I mean, it was I understand why that guy got the crap kicked out of him. Big time.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's just what do you, you clearly have something wrong with you.
Yeah.
If you think that this is a sane thing to do to run into a wrestling event like this, wrestlers are so old school. Even the new ones are old school in just that, especially when it comes to the respect for the people that came before. It's it didn't shock me at all. Dash Wilder's punch did not shock me at all. I was happy to see it. And
that's the most I've ever been happy to see someone get punched in the face. Even if they might have had a mental thing. I was that was so fucked up.
Yeah.
That man.
Well, it's one of those things where it's just let's say that they are, mentally screwed up. And that sucks. But it also sucks that they did something and people have a right to react. And if people don't know where you're coming from, and especially in this day and age that we live in with people, with terrorist attacks and different things that happen nowadays, that shootings, the other things, it's people are going to react like that if you attack somebody in public because they're going to think that the absolute worst is intended by your actions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was crazy. We were at G1 and I got a text from Norman. He was writing something else. And then it was Ryan, stop. Bret Hart just got attacked. I wasn't watching live like everyone else or there, so it was excuse me? And then I literally had to say it to everyone in the press room and then pull it up on my computer because that was the first, and then everyone's hovering over my computer as we're watching this.
That's the press room at G1?
Yeah, at Madison Square Garden, yeah. And, I just, I can't believe that the security was that bad.
Yeah.
At the end of that's the big
It is shocking that he got that far. Because also he didn't look like a wrestler. You know, he was wearing,
He was wearing a freaking dreadlocks,
like Rasta colors and stuff like that.
No, he was just wearing those dumb dreadlock hats.
Yeah. Like, I mean, and the thing is like, there's no reason why you would ever mistake him as a wrestler. Like, I just don't understand where they were on that one.
I saw someone. I think it was that Vince Googling account where it was like, "How did Kofi Kingston? What is Kofi Kingston doing?" or something like that.
Yeah, that's funny.
I feel like what the main thing that will come of this is that we will never see that setup for the Hall of Fame again.
No,
we'll never.
Which is a bummer because I was happy that they at least did something a little different.
So you watched the whole ceremony?
I didn't watch the whole ceremony.
Most of it? Some of it?
I watched some of it.
Okay.
I watched most of it. No, like it's just like I'm sorry. Like I've been so turned off by the Hall of Fame in recent years that it's just
too.
like it has. I was in Joshua Tree on Saturday, so I was just kind of like exploring amidst the rocks and whatnot.
That's when you had the guns out.
Yeah, and then and so like I watched NXT on Friday. Didn't watch the Hall of Fame on Saturday, so I needed went back and watched. Obviously. When I came back to the house from being out in the desert and everything, and I saw all the Bret Hart attack stuff, I just went to town watching everything at that point. And then I watched WrestleMania the next day.
So the other thing, the reason I asked you about that is because since you watched some of it, I haven't had a chance yet, to be honest with you. I've been so sick. I wanted to.
Yeah.
Did you like the different setup? Was it better? Worse?
I like it. I feel like the Hall of Fame has grown so stale. I'm burnt out on it. So like having at least them switch up the visual of it, not doing the stage. I feel like they've done that for a long time now. Like just had them kind of come out on stage, just almost like kind of like Raw style or something like that, just like where they're kind of at the top. And I don't know. Like, I mean, we see that all the time. Like we see that visual literally every single episode of Raw and SmackDown. So it's nice to have like a different view at least for this like long drawn out ceremony.
I realize money is money, and I realize that this point has been beaten to death. Yeah. But I honestly hope that this fan run-in will finally be the thing that makes WWE make it an exclusive event. Yeah. That makes it very hard to get into.
Think about it like this.
Invite only.
There are tiers of their vacation packages that are so astronomically priced because there's real special perks on some of those. I remember for 31, there was one where it was like go on a wine tour with WWE like legends. And I remember thinking like it would be so awesome to go with Patterson and Mean Gene, may God rest his soul, he was still alive at that point, to go on a wine tour with them. Like that would be the funnest thing in the world. And it was several $1,000s to have that option. Mm-hmm. They could easily do a $10,000 tier or something like that. Charitable donation-based system, something that would still be positive for their company.
And you have to wear a suit though. Like you have to wear a suit.
Well, like my favorite, actually,
not stupid dreadlocks.
I like, I liked how they used to do the Hall of Fame where it was like a little bit smaller.
Me too.
I also like how they did the Slammies back in like the mid to late 90s
Me too.
as well, where it was like kind of like the like a fancy dinner,
like an award show,
like an award show. And it's just like the thing is like that. I feel like you could charge super high price tickets for that, to where only somebody who is not going to have the means and the money to do something crazy or would never risk that is going to do something. Also, with an understanding that the environment can still be somewhat of like a murder mystery dinner theater style affair, in that, hey, you might be sitting at a table where something happens too. And that could be part of the cool perk of it, is like you never know what kind of interactive experience you're going to have if you have the money to fork over the amount that just costs to go to this thing. It's controlled environment. They can do a lot with it. They can advance storylines. They can play into WrestleMania. You can have quieter moments with people. Again, just like an award show typically is. It doesn't, like the fan aspect of the Hall of Fame is the most unnecessary part of it. I say that as a fan.
I think it's also the part that's the most that turns the most people off.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to hear chants during someone's Hall of Fame speech.
I remember when Hulk Hogan was giving his speech at Staples Center, and I don't think it was even at Staples Center when they held it, but it was already getting too big at that point, to where he was like, hey, back off, brother. He said something because somebody, I think when he mentioned Brooke, somebody whistled or something like that. But it's like, hey, you shouldn't have that kind of interference when you're giving somebody what's dubbed a prestigious award.
That's like
a lifetime award.
A lifetime achievement award, exactly.
It's kind of, I don't know. Like I went to the Hall of Fame in WrestleMania 31, and that was like the moment I stopped watching the Hall of Fame because it was so damn long in person. I just was like,
that was the Macho Man one, right?
Yeah,
that's the same one with me. Yeah, I literally it just turned me off. I was like, I never want to go to one of these. I never want to watch one again. This is awful.
They're poorly.
I'm gonna watch DX because I love DX, but
Yeah.
But I'm with you. It's very off-putting at this point. It's like
I didn't even consider watching it. Outside of after the Bret Hart thing happened, that's when I kind of started going back.
I didn't consider going to it either, to be honest with you. That Macho Man one, I remember just sitting there so bored, and I remember thinking to myself, why is there anybody but wrestlers here?
Yeah,
this is so stupid for anyone to be here but wrestlers.
I remember when
people who work in the industry.
When Vern Gagne got inducted in 2006, people chanted one more match, and it was like, hey, he's 80-something with dementia. You should not be in this auditorium. You should not be chanting this at this man. He should not, most definitely should not have had one more match at that point.
What did you think about them putting Luna in the Legacy wing?
I agree with you.
Right?
I definitely feel like I feel like you're going to see that a lot more. I feel like you're going to see a lot of people put in. Let me ask you this, though. The Legacy wing, what is it?
It means that they don't get like a featured induction. It means like they're just basically like,
but they're
in the Hall of Fame, but they don't get like the video package, the speech from anyone.
I think with that though, like everybody's going to be in the Hall of Fame, and I get it. They're doing that so they can avoid the tough questions that may come with certain people that they'd like to induct. I get that, but like we don't need that many people in the Hall of Fame. Like, I mean, I'm fine with Tori Wilson being in there. Luna should definitely be in there. Like, I mean, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, like, there are people that are in there before her, and you go, like,
the hard thing is like, Luna had, some attachments to some stuff that they probably just don't want to show, namely artists formerly known as Goldust. There was a lot of risque stuff that the two of them were doing around that period of time. And I would also say even the oddities is probably something.
Why would they want to get what's up with oddities?
Because they've got the Insane Clown Posse all over it, and they probably want to avoid that association when it comes down to it.
Fair, okay.
And I'm not saying that as a diss against Insane Clown Posse. I would just assume that's the case. And so like those two things right there. I don't know what she did after that. I can't recall what became of Luna after the oddities. But obviously she had a hell of a run with Bam Bam Bigelow, and that's what they easily could focus on, along with her family association. I totally agree with you on that. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's really how I felt about everything you just said right there. It was more, I get it. I get the things you don't want to talk about, but does that mean that, like, they're going to induct Miss Elizabeth in the Legacy wing and people are going to be okay with it?
For sure.
Like, come on. Miss Elizabeth, I was watching that Dark Side of the Ring documentary that Viceland put out. The first episode was on Macho Man. I watched the whole series now, though, and
really good.
It's probably the best wrestling documentary series I've watched.
So excited.
Yes. Remind me.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. I can't recommend it enough. Absolutely. I learned things I didn't know. So much. It's one of the best because it's honest.
Yeah.
But it's clearly coming from a place of love.
Yeah.
With all the things, and that's not easy to do with difficult to tackle topics. Specifically, like the Von Erichs, Moolah, Bruiser Brody. Like those are tough topics, and they really do tackle them from a place of love. But you learn a lot, and you also see every side of the story. I think it was very well done.
I can't wait.
But I saw But I saw Miss Elizabeth in it. And I was thinking, like, it's insane that Miss Elizabeth isn't in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
like it is. Insane.
Unfortunately, though, why isn't Lex Luger in the Hall of Fame? Like that's the reason why both of them are not in the Hall of Fame. And the thing is like that sucks. Because Elizabeth does deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, and to be honest with you, Lex Luger deserves to be in the Hall of Fame
too. Of course,
both of them had Hall of Fame careers with the different events that they were attached to, different huge moments that they are attached to. I mean, Lex Luger in general. I remember when he beat Hulk Hogan for the title, and this is like in the midst of the NWO's run. Like I think it was in '97, and I remember that episode and the way the crowd erupted. And he only held the title for like a week because I think he dropped it back to Hogan at Road Wild. Like that Sunday. So it was like a 6-day run, but man, people were like, that win was so huge. And I remember thinking like Lex Luger is the man.
Do you think they'll put Lex Luger in while he's alive? Or they're going to wait till he passes away?
Here's my thought. I don't think that he's on the verge of passing away right now. Like, I think he's got some years left. So, yeah, I think that he'll make it in before.
He's in a wheelchair. Jim Neidhart.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude. He's like, I'm almost positive he's in a wheelchair, isn't he? I'm almost positive.
I thought he like lost all like his ability to walk and got it back.
Pretty sure he's in a wheelchair.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive he's in a wheelchair.
They don't give Hall of Fame inductions to people in wheelchairs.
Well, it's just, I mean, it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't like look good on it. It makes them look, it looks like, oh, look what wrestling does to you, you know. Although I think he should 100% be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. I could see both of them being legacy inductions, though, too.
Me too.
Because, like, there's a real dark story attached to both of them that they're both associated with. And that's not something that can be sugarcoated. You know, like it'd be one thing, you know, like say with like Jimmy Superfly Snuka, there were allegations, there were, you know, proceedings that were taking place obviously prior to his death, that were probably going to bring to light like information that would have throttled his career at that point. He passed away, so it's like those things kind of went away. Because the other person involved in that situation had passed away a long time ago. So it's kind of one of those things where it's just like, it's not something like Jimmy Superfly Snuka where they can sweep away the bad and not have to deal with any of it. With Lex Luger and Miss Elizabeth, it's like it is directly attached to both of them.
Yeah, it's right there in your face.
Not only that, but the fact that they aired the video on, what's it called, on Confidential. They aired like the call that Lex Luger made and everything like that. It's like, it shines a light on not just a dark part of Lex Luger and Miss Elizabeth, but also kind of a dark side of WWE of where they were at the beginning of the 2000s.
You know what's interesting? When I was watching that Dark Side of the Ring documentary, and obviously the Moolah episode hasn't come out yet, but when I was watching the whole Wendy Richter story and her talking about, you know, the rock and wrestling and WrestleMania 1 and all that kind of stuff, and I was thinking, like, it's crazy how my voice sounded terrible.
I like
there.
that.
Crazy. It's crazy how, you know, Wendy and that whole thing was such a big part of WrestleMania 1, and partly the reason, you know, WWF became so popular. Obviously, Hulk Hogan and Mr. T too.
Yeah.
But you can't say that Cyndi Lauper wasn't just as influential to that time in the whole Wendy Richter storyline. And it's crazy how it's taken this long for the women to, you know, finally main event when the women...
When really they were such a big part of that, like an integral part of it.
You know?
You know, it is interesting that I guess the WWF didn't see the value in women's wrestling at that point. Because really, I'm sure that Vince McMahon looked at it as like, look at this publicity that we're getting. But I don't think that he looked at it as like, this is a woman's movement that's happening right
No,
here.
I mean, it's funny too because, you know, when you look at this, you know, when you look at the whole Spider-Woman thing, right? Wasn't that the Spider-Woman who she ends up losing it to, who was Moolah under the mask? Like, clearly not. You know, Vince had his allegiances with Moolah that whole time. You know, it was more so like, yeah, cool young girl because Cyndi Lauper was behind it. And
when Cyndi Lauper was
gone, it was like,
hey, Spider Lady.
Spider Lady, get back in there.
I wonder if that's what his nickname for Moolah was just in general.
Well, no, because like when I was watching, I'm very not versed in that time period, as you know, but like apparently the Spider-Woman was someone else.
Okay.
And Wendy said she had wrestled the Spider-Woman in the past. And then at that show, Spider-Woman looked way bigger. And she was like confused. And then Spider-Woman like kicked her ass and pinned her real fast. And she was like super confused and then unmasked to be Spider-Woman. So I think Spider-Woman was actually a different wrestler. I think it's not Spider-Woman either. It's, it's
Black Widow?
No, it's Spider something. It's it was Spider. Yeah, Spider-Woman. Yeah, that's right.
It's a real original name, by the way.
I was just gonna say. I was saying that like, it can't just be Spider-Woman.
Spider-Woman.
But no, it was just Spider-Woman.
Hey, Spider-Woman. Or take care of my problem.
It's funny that honestly that documentary is worth watching just because you go like, fuck, man. Old school wrestling was wild. Like the stuff that happened. Literally, the whole Bruiser Brody story is like, cops thought wrestling was real in Puerto Rico, so they just believed that Bruiser Brody was crazy and that the guy he stomped fucking wanted to beat him up, but then he got stabbed by a fan. Like, it's crazy. Yeah. It was literally just like the cops being like, oh, well, this guy's crazy on TV, so obviously he's crazy. It makes sense that he got stabbed. What? Like, what's his face? Tony Atlas is like in the documentary saying like, I told them. I watched him get stabbed. It was that guy. They never called me in for questioning after that.
Wow.
And the guy got off.
Wow.
And you're like, what? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, that's so crazy to me.
It's crazy to me, but also like those are like events like that are kind of what formulated like my whole understanding of just like, yeah, it's wrestling. It's like a circus. Mm-hmm. It's literally run like a dark circus.
Very much so.
Run like a dark circus.
I tried to hold off on as long as possible, but I am going to put a cough drop in. I'm sorry. I tried. Sorry. It's not going to sound great. Sorry. Anyways, so the other big thing that happened to Hall of Fame, Triple H calling AEW a pissant company.
Yeah, kind of an off thing to say.
Seemed very unnecessary, right?
Yeah, totally.
Like,
I mean, also like Pissant? Come on. Like, there's a better word to use for that, where there's like pissant just feels dirty.
Feels kind of mean.
Yeah.
A little unnecessarily mean.
It's like, hey, come on.
Like, hey, we're just starting out. Like, give us a break.
Pissant.
Like, we're not even...
But give us a chance, at least.
At the same time, though, it really does, I feel like, and I got a lot of shit on Twitter where I tweeted something along these lines, but it was like, they literally just gave free promotion to AEW in one of their most watched shows of WrestleMania weekend, which was so insanely dumb to me.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? There's so many people watching. Have no idea that Billy Gunn works for some upstart company.
Yeah, for sure.
So many people watching that have no idea what you're talking about. And the power of the internet is real. All they have to do is go search on Google, Billy Gunn, wrestling company, whatever.
Yeah.
They are now made aware of AEW.
Yeah.
To me, it was like AEW, Matt, Nick, Cody, they all made a point to say they weren't going to New York.
Yeah.
That's WWE's weekend. We're not encroaching on WWE's weekend. Let them have that's their thing.
Yeah.
They even said congratulations to Billy Gunn to getting inducted when he was going to get inducted. They weren't firing shots.
Yeah.
It seemed very just out of left field to bring that stuff up.
Yeah. I mean, I just I'm with you that I thought, especially because Billy was there, that they would definitely not mention it. And I'm starting to feel like, did they mention it so much just because Billy was there?
I was wondering the same thing.
Were they ribbing him? Is that what that was all for?
Kind of felt that way, right?
Yeah. Come on.
I mean, they made multiple references to it. It wasn't just the Pissant Company line. There was something else too about
the all-in
thing and how he doesn't perform, or he doesn't always underperforms or something like that. And how if you put the title executive vice president in front of your name, it helps make you feel important or something like that.
Yeah.
Those are all what?
Yeah.
I mean, to me,
I wonder why. I wonder why they went that route. Because they have a habit of typically, they've been doing it a little bit more lately, but they have a habit of typically not acknowledging the existence of any other wrestling company.
Doesn't that kind of signal they've even gotten to a little bit?
Maybe.
That's how I take that kind of situation.
Maybe they're just
because when it's Impact or when it's ROH or when it's New Japan, they never would do it.
The only reason why I can think that they did it is because they're DX and they're saying stuff they're not supposed to say.
That is what I saw.
Because they did all say Vince McMahon all over and over again, which apparently was rooted in the fact that some writer got fired because Bret Hart said Vince McMahon's name or something like that.
Did you see? Oh man, it was a whole thing today. Apparently, so it was R.D. Evans, who was a former independent wrestler, but he's been on the creative team for a few years now. And apparently, Vince hates his name being said during the Hall of Fame speeches. And so when Bret said it, he got angry at the writer, R.D. Evans. From what I heard, he kind of quote unquote fired him.
Uh-huh.
But I've heard that it's he has said that to this guy a lot. And this guy was pissed and kind of walked away from the situation. And then when they were let's try to smooth things over, he was like, no, I quit. This isn't a smooth situation. I'm done with this. Yeah. I'm out of here. So it's a little bit of both, fired, but also kind of quit. It's a little weird.
Wow.
He says he quit, so I'm going to take it as he quit. It sounds like I quit before he could actually be fired scenario, though. Which is so silly, in my opinion. It's come on, dude. This is a happy patting ourselves on the back. Lifetime achievement thing.
Why does he want his name spoken?
I think because he doesn't want it to look like it's a big jerk off Vince McMahon fest. He wants.
I get that, but
because if it's it's only about him always, then it's the floodgate comes down. And I heard that Triple H, he produced his segment. What's he gonna do? You gonna fire Triple H?
Yeah.
Does he want to see his grandkids?
It's interesting because I feel like Bret Hart of all people should always be able to say Vince McMahon's name because of the screw job.
And that you would think. If he's saying anything positive about Vince McMahon,
he'd want it.
Vince McMahon would be pumped for that exact same reason. I'm well, okay, cool. Look at that guy hated me. We're friends again.
Really smooth things over. Call Superstar.
Look at how level-headed I am.
Yeah, I'm good.
So we'll get to Superstar in a little bit. Don't worry.
Okay.
I'm sure you're seething on that one.
Booker T kind of already filled in for me.
I know he did. I know
big time.
He really laid it down.
Thanks, Booker.
Okay, so G1 Supercard, I'm sure you didn't watch it, but I'll talk about some of the things I saw there.
Sure. And what was it like seeing a wrestling event at Madison Square Garden?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Honestly, lived up to the hype 100%.
Yeah.
You and I have been to so many Staples Center events and just events in LA in general.
Yeah.
And I feel like typically the LA crowds are pretty quiet.
Yeah.
As much as I love wrestling, as much as I love to watch wrestling in LA.
No, I mean, the Staples Center Raw crowd is rowdy for about an hour and then dies big time.
100%.
I mean, they're used to going to Laker games, not 3-hour Raws.
100%. And I'm so used to that. And it was crazy that like that energy from the first hour pretty much lasted the whole time, which I never see. And so that was really cool. That's really big. Like, there's that extra top section, but optically, like, I feel like even if you're not super close, you're still a good view of everything.
Yeah. I'm jealous that you got to go there.
Yeah, I will say one of the highlights of the trip was finally getting to see a wrestling show in Madison Square Garden, because it's been something I've my whole life seen.
It's like it is like a holy place.
I'm sure it's like a race car fan getting to go see the Indy 500 or whatever, and seeing it instead of watching it on TV. It's like way cooler, I imagine.
Yeah.
I don't know, I imagine, but still just watching cars driving circles, but still stupid. But whatever. No, just kidding.
Back to wrestling.
Back to wrestling. But so the Honor Rumble was awesome. It was like a Royal Rumble type thing, but without question, the coolest part was Jushin Thunder Liger, and Great Muta facing off in the match. When Great Muta's music hit, and everyone realized Great Muta was in the match, that place went crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, because we all knew Liger was going to be in there. But yeah, special moment. I mean, I don't think I've seen. No, did I see him wrestle at PCW? I'm not positive, but
Muta?
It's still cool seeing Muta, especially in an arena setting.
Yeah.
Doing his whole thing. That place was on fire for the two of them, so that was a really cool moment. I thought it was kind of weird bringing the beautiful people in.
Yeah. It just seemed off-brand.
Yeah. That was kind of like the theme for a lot of the Ring of Honor stuff this show.
Yeah.
Felt very off-brand.
Yeah.
I liked the beautiful people in TNA.
It's a while ago, though.
But it was a while ago.
I will say that the beautiful people was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Yeah. That's what kind of confused me about the situation. It's like doing a gimmick from 10 years ago is a little like.
Also, it's kind of a gimmick where it's just like we've a lot has changed since then. And I'm not saying that that gimmick's not allowed or that it doesn't, have its place, but there are a lot of more, I guess, progressive gimmicks that have arisen within women, and the women's place on the card has just shifted so much now at this point that it does, like, going back to something from 10 years ago. That's why even sometimes, like, when Michelle McCool shows up and like the women's stuff that they do, I'm like, you're kind of from like not a great period.
Also, 10 years ago from another company.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's and I like the beautiful people, but I don't think anyone would say it's one of the most popular tag teams ever or anything
would say
like that.
If you were going over with somebody and you're like, of the women who used to be famous in wrestling who are not in it currently right now, who would you bring back? I don't think that either of them would be in the top 5, and I would say they might not even be in the top 10. And again, I'm not trying to send a diss, but it's just like, is it unexpected? Yeah. Is it like a shock in a good way? I don't necessarily think so.
Oh, great. Just coughed out my cough drop in my shirt. Hold on a second.
You'll find something, boy. You go in your pocket?
Oh, it went in my lap. Great. There we go.
Hey, it's still good. It's still good.
All you guys watching on video just got to see my chest there. Hope you enjoyed it. We're back in action, though. Oh, man. I liked that. That's my last cough drop, too. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, sorry, bud.
But you're right on everything you just said there. I actually do like the beautiful people.
Yeah.
I was a fan of their gimmick. It just feels like I didn't understand. It felt like not relevant. It didn't feel like what's the right word I'm looking for? It just didn't feel like if this is your coming out party, if this is your like, hey, we're on the level of WWE. Hey, this is our WrestleMania. Yeah. We're putting on a 7-hour show too.
It's not impressive.
It's not impressive.
Like, I mean, anyone
could have gotten them.
Yeah, and also like, there are a lot of other people that could have been impressive. I guess like is the other thing where it's just like it's not just that you chose them; it's like all the people that
You didn't choose.
that you could have had instead.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I also
it just and again, like Enzo and Cass showing up too, it feels off brand.
Very off brand.
Like are you changing your brand?
It's like they wanted to be. It very much, some of the moves they were making made them feel less like a work rate company and more like a TV company.
Yeah.
Which is, if that's what you want to do, fine, but it made them feel more Impact than Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, it very much made them feel more like, actually, I shouldn't even say Impact. Made them feel more TNA than Ring of Honor. Like, that's what TNA used to do before. It was just Impact Wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, that was a very TNA type situation, especially the whole work shoot with Enzo and Cass thing. Since you already brought it up, like, that whole thing, man, stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid. Like,
what was the reaction in the arena like to that?
Well, see, here's the thing. We didn't know it wasn't airing on TV.
Yeah.
So, like, I assumed this was airing on TV, so people were reacting as such. It was, but it was also like, keep in mind this. This was moments after Bret Hart was actually attacked by someone jumping over the guardrail.
That's horrible timing.
So people were like still reacting to that, thinking that like, shit, like, is that just a thing this weekend? Like, are people just wilding out?
Are we gonna need to like
more security
as
crazy things happening?
Yeah.
So I think that kind of. I don't think it amped people up. If anything, it sucked the air out of the room.
Yeah.
Because one, people already remember Enzo doing that, and it was stupid at the Survivor Series or whatever, right? Survivor Series, right?
Yeah.
And two, it was like, well, is this what we want? Like, we just had this cool tag match with these cool teams, and then this is what you gave us? I really thought the whole work shoot thing was done. It was odd.
Yeah.
From what I've heard different things in regards to this. From what I'm hearing, it seems to me like the New Japan wrestlers were not in the know on this.
Huh.
And that's why if you watch the Brawl, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, they're not involved in the fight. They're standing on the ring apron like watching it all.
Yeah.
But the teams who were involved in the tag team match are all fighting Enzo and Cass. And then Bully Ray comes running out of nowhere and fights them. Clearly, they were expecting them.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Tama and Tonga...
They're just like, what the hell's going on
We're just like, what the hell's going on here? It almost sounds like, to me, like they didn't want to clear it through New Japan. And so they kind of went into business for themselves a little bit with that Enzo and Cass angle.
That's not good.
I don't know if that's the case, but that's the vibe I'm getting. From sources like close to the Tongas, dude, they seem to stand firm that they were not aware that was going to be a thing that happened. But at the same time, it had to have been a work because security would have jumped in instantly if it wasn't.
Yeah.
So it's a real weird situation. And also,
but so weird.
Also, okay, I work in news. If that were real, I would have to work on it.
Yeah.
It's silly that you're in the press box with a bunch of freaking reporters and you're not going to tell them if it's a shoot or not.
Yeah.
Like, and playing coy about the whole thing. And then retweeting the video as if when you're pretending that it was
you would never do that. A company would never do that.
Why would you then retweet the video of it happening?
No.
Come on.
Well, this is evident of the fact that they don't know how to do this. Because it's not something that they do because it's off-brand.
Very off-brand.
And so it's just like, the reaction to it, the befuddled reaction to it is what should be expected.
Yes.
It's not something that happens in Ring of Honor, but it's not something that necessarily should happen in Ring of Honor, you know?
Agreed. 100% agreed. I also don't know if they're I don't think they're a real interesting fit for Ring of Honor either.
No, they're a work rate driven place. It's like even when Enzo got put on 205 Live, outside of the fact that he could talk, there was no other reason for him to be on there. It was strictly because he was able to entertain the audience, to be able to talk on TV. You'd have somebody from Raw that was all of a sudden part of your brand and everything. It makes sense. But nobody was watching Enzo on 205 Live to be like, let me see him put on a 5-star match.
No.
Ever. No.
No. Okay, so here's what I'll also say about G1 Supercard. I'm not going to pick apart every match. I loved a lot of these matches. Yeah. I thought the Ishimori versus Dragon Lee versus Bandito was awesome. That move he does where it's like the backwards flip off the top rope while holding where he's doing what's the word I'm looking for? the move that JBL and Scott Hall used to do.
Fall away slam.
Fall away slam, but from the top rope where he flips over them. Blows my mind every time. The fact that he did it while holding two people was insane because Bandito is not like some jacked up. I mean, he's strong, obviously, but he's not like Hulk Hogan 24-inch pythons, and he's holding up two people doing a backflip with them. That's insane. Insane. And Naito Ibushi was awesome. Three-way ladder match was awesome. Jay White versus Okada was awesome. But here's my gripe with the show, and it's what I'm going to say with WrestleMania 2 is that I'm sorry. Nobody wants to watch anything for 7 hours.
No.
Nobody.
No, it's too long.
It's too freaking long.
Even
I know that it's like the what I'm supposed to say is like a wrestling journalist of like more wrestling the better. I'm sorry. I don't feel that way. This is an entertainment show. You are burning people out.
It's too like when you get to the end of a show, you should be invested in the last event, not looking at your watch. You know, like, and the last two WrestleManias for me have been that way, where it's just like, just end this already. You know, and that sucks.
It sucks. And it's like these last three matches were a half hour each, which is awesome. But cut other stuff.
Yeah.
Cut other stuff.
Yeah.
Cut PCO's. I get what they were trying for, but cut his stupid entrance.
Yeah.
Like it looked so silly. What they were like, you saw him walk up into it.
I don't want him to keep taking bumps like he's taking.
Me neither.
I feel like he's gonna get paralyzed.
I know it's scary.
Like the bump that he took over the top rope was totally not necessary, and I feel like he's pushing for it.
Bump. Almost all the bumps he takes are completely unnecessary.
I don't want him to die.
You're talking like the power bomb over the top rope, basically. Yeah.
It's just like his human body is not meant to impact the floor like that.
No, not at all. It's just like we don't need to see you do that.
And also, he can't keep doing that. I don't care what he says, because even though his gimmick is that he is not human, he is human.
He is in fact human.
You are a human being. You cannot, you know.
Yeah, no, and that's the problem. Like I loved this show. I just had a hard time staying invested in it because at a certain point, there's only like so much you can take of a certain kind of style.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like all these matches are so different in style. They're all kind of similar in style.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard-hitting, fast-paced stuff. And it's great. I love it. But 7 hours is a bit much. Even WrestleMania being 7 hours is too long, and you're not WrestleMania G1 Supercard.
Yeah.
I do think at a certain point, like, it just affected those matches at the end. Like, the crowd was less into it.
No, it's just people are exhausted.
They're exhausted.
Like, there's only so much wrestling you can take. Dude, I'll tell you this much. If, like, Marvel would never consider putting out a 7-hour Infinity or, you know, Avengers movie. It would never happen. Mm-hmm. And even the final cut of Endgame is apparently over 3 hours long. And that's being looked at as like, dang, it's a whopping 3 hours.
People freaked out. People were like, 3.5 hours?
We got
what?
No wrestling event lately has been shorter than the extended Return of the King, like Lord of the Rings film.
Yeah.
It's just like, and that movie goes on forever.
Forever.
And it's an Academy Award winning movie. But even that one, people are like, enough. Cut it out.
Yeah.
I've seen enough, like, you know, fade outs and fade ins.
Like, I didn't need the beautiful people. I didn't need Dalton Castle turning. I didn't need Enzo and Cass. There's a lot of stuff that could have been cut from this show.
You know, when push comes to shove, you shouldn't have so many matches and so much crammed onto the card that I'm wishing for a match to end quickly.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's just like, I asked you guys, like, before WrestleMania, it was like, which one's going to be, like, the real quick match? Because it's just like, you do get to a point where it's like, hey, the audience is tired. We don't want to watch anymore.
I was so tired at WrestleMania that I was like working and doing so many things that I didn't even notice the Samoa Joe Rey Mysterio match ended in a minute.
Can I tell you something?
You were the same way?
I went to the bathroom and did a couple things, and like the next day I read the results and I was like, I missed that match. I had a couple drinks in my system too, but I mean, still, it was just like, damn. I think I went to I think I walked outside to the store to go get something from like the corner store on the boardwalk, and then I came back, and then next day I was like, oh, I forgot about that match because I didn't see it.
I was like writing something
or
doing
just went on, by the way.
Okay, I was like writing something. Well, wait, why? Doesn't matter. I was writing something, and I was writing something, and he came out, and then I saw it, and I was like, wait. What? Like,
that's not the first time Rey Mysterio has had a super fast match at WrestleMania. Didn't he have like a lightning fast match with JBL? And I think it was like the match that JBL may have retired from too. I'm not quite sure.
Say it again?
Like, didn't Rey Mysterio have like a super quick match with JBL, like a WrestleMania 25?
I don't recall. You're better with those than me.
I think that's the case.
But yes, with the Samoa Joe one, I literally was like typing something. He came out. I think I was texting Erica, and she had a funny joke about he was dressing up as Liberace Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
She liked his Liberace tribute, and then like it was over, and I was like, wait. What happened?
Yeah.
And I had to like go back on my computer and rewind for a
Yeah.
second. I was like, oh, all right, easy enough. But yeah, so I enjoyed the G1. Long though, too long.
Yeah.
Sorry, too long. My favorite event of the weekend was right after though. Was the spring break clusterfuck.
Yeah.
That was the most fun I had the entire weekend.
Why?
It was. Have you ever watched any of these spring break events?
No.
It is literally like a Royal Rumble for the most diehard wrestling fans.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it had Mantar. It
Yeah.
had Crowbar. It had like just most random people like that in it, but then also crazy wrestling. There was like it started off with a Necro Butcher and Nick Gage.
Yeah,
and
I saw you post that video too because I hadn't seen Necro Butcher in a long time.
he hasn't wrestled in forever because he
Yeah.
made a bunch of money or he like became rich and like just stopped wrestling.
How did he become rich?
I want to say he married Rich or I forget exactly what it was, but I just remember that Necro Butcher came into money, and
Yeah.
that's why he stopped wrestling.
Yeah. Well,
And
he's wrestling really dangerous matches too,
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah.
glad that he did.
Me too. And it was so I've never gotten to see Necro Butcher live. You know, he's an East Coast indie guy.
Yeah.
That's not the person I ever got to see. So it was cool seeing him. It was awesome seeing a bunch of the indie guys. There was I'm trying to remember some of the other ones that were there, but you know, like they had the guy from Wheatus in the match.
Wow.
Like they're just like the most random people, just altogether crazy stuff happening,
Yeah.
and it was just fun. I mean, the best moment, the funniest moment at least, was Sexy Eddie, this indie wrestler coming into the match, and he's got he comes into the match and he's wearing just a towel. And so he's wrestling or whatever, and then at one point, like Joey Ryan pulls the towel off of him, and he covers his nutsack, and he was naked under the towel.
Wow.
So he's holding on to his nutsack, butt naked in the middle of the ring, and then he like avoids something. So Joey Ryan goes into the corner, and then he gets whipped into the corner ass first into Joey's face, and then they're doing it, and someone keeps, I think it was Effie, he kept kicking Sexy Eddie's ass into Joey's face the whole time. Joey's getting bare ass in the face the whole time.
What a good sport.
And then Effie like gets knocked down, and then Sexy Eddie goes to like try and climb the ropes, but he can't because he's covering his nutsack. So he's like trying to do it with just his feet, and so like Joey helped him up by like pushing his ass up, and then he did like a naked moonsault off the middle rope.
What?
And while he's holding his nuts the whole time, never
Wow.
moved his hands, does the naked moonsault. Then he finally gets eliminated. But then when he gets eliminated, he just walks through the whole like crowd and even goes like up the stairs and like walking through it as if he can't find his way out or whatever.
Wow.
And so I just picture him like walking down the hallway towards the locker room,
Damn.
just butt naked.
What confidence.
It's the most confidence.
Like, be like, yeah, I can make sure that my hands don't move.
I was shocked that I never saw any ball. Like he was
Wow.
real good at covering it the whole time. Unless
Dang.
maybe he had it taped up and I couldn't see. But I mean, like he looked like he was naked, dude.
That's pretty good for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like I saw like a video clip of it, and I remember thinking to myself, like, this man's gonna go to jail for indecent exposure. Like, there's no way this couldn't happen. Like, this is far too volatile of an idea.
Yeah, fair.
But hey, he did it.
Hey, he did it.
Props.
And he's probably back home now, so good.
Yeah.
I also awesome in that show was it was LAX versus Rock and Roll Express.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
That's cool.
And then Masato Tanaka versus La Park.
Wow.
Which is like such a throwback.
Yeah, that's real obscure.
So obscure. And they were like, dude, it was like, I felt like I was watching an old ECW match. Like
That's
they were
awesome.
like chairs, they were doing the elbow. You know, he was doing the roaring
Did he
elbow.
do his dance?
Oh, yeah. Of course he did his dance, dude. Yeah, hell yeah, he did the dance.
I love
It was, yeah, me too.
La Park.
La Park. I know you can't call him La Parka now.
Yeah, that's okay.
But you all know who we're talking about.
La Park.
But yeah, if you are going to a WrestleMania weekend or anything like that, Cannot recommend enough Spring Break.
Yeah.
I seriously, probably the most fun I've had at a wrestling show. It was just chaos. So I definitely think you guys should go there. Wait, hold on one second.
I will hold on for 50 seconds.
Sorry, no, I just had to explain to Remsen why we're going long this week.
It's all good. Your beard's looking great, by the way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I got it trimmed recently. All right, let's get into WrestleMania before I get in trouble and they kick me out of here. So, WrestleMania, what do you think about Colin Jost and Michael Che in the Battle Royal? Did you watch it?
No, yeah, I did.
You watched pre-show? Did you watch all of WrestleMania?
I watched the pre-show, kind of like fast forward style.
Okay.
I was I watched all the matches. I was fine with it. I don't invest much in either of those battle royals at WrestleMania because it's just get them on the card. So it was fine with me. I didn't have any objectionable reaction to it. But it wasn't like I wasn't. I agree with you that it was a little weird that you had these two guys from SNL that came onto your show, but nobody ever referenced it or was on, went on SNL to kind of like.
That bothered me.
Because that's.
Am I crazy for saying that was odd? Because I don't know if you saw my whole conversation with Ron Funches, but he was like going hard on me for saying that like it was weird that they didn't.
I would have thought they would have referenced it. It would have felt a little bit more important, I feel like, if they would have done that. Yeah.
Like Braun making one appearance on Weekend Update, or even them just saying, hey, we're going to be at WrestleMania this weekend. Like, I don't see what the big deal is.
I feel like they could have easily done it. Like, was there a live episode of SNL like this past week?
Yeah.
Yeah. They should have. I mean, that just seems like it makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
And Ron Funches was like, give me all this shit. He was like, it's not weird. Like, the SNL people do things all the time outside of SNL. They don't promote on SNL. But I was like, but that's different. Yeah. This is an NBC Universal thing. Like, it was set up through NBC Universal because they're both part of the same company. It's synergy. It's cross promotion.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, it didn't feel that important to me. And I don't think. I wasn't, that impressed with the build, to be honest with you, going into it. I mean, it felt like, just something extra for WrestleMania. And so, it was okay. Not anything super impressive to me.
I'll be honest with you, I really enjoyed it. I like when there's celebrity involvement, so it's never been something that bothered me. So I actually really enjoyed it. I thought that the crowd was pumped to see them finally. To see Braun get his hands on them finally. And so for that reason, I thought it was a plus all around. The only miss of the factor was that they didn't get the mainstream publicity they thought they were going to off of it. And
I just feel like, too, like the Andre the Giant battle, WrestleMania Battle Royal, it's just like it's now gotten to the point where it's like, who are the illustrious winners of like this prestigious, match? And I can't really, I probably could name everybody, but it would probably take me a hot second to actually go through and try to remember who had won in the past because it's just become kind of unimportant.
Yeah, agreed. Fair. Yeah. And I think that's kind of why I didn't care about Asuka not winning the women's one either. Everyone's like, oh, buried. But it's like, it's just the band.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It's like this match. Like, I mean, consider them already buried if they're in that match.
Very much so.
Not buried. It's just like, sorry.
I get what you mean.
Like,
I get what you mean. Hawkins and Ryder winning the tag titles. What do you think about that?
I mean, I don't really get it. I get the storyline and everything like that of him finally of Hawkins finally getting a win and now being able to like squeak out wins is going to be the story for a while. I just feel like everybody just felt so good about the Revival winning the titles, and are they just like not? Are they just going to SmackDown now, or like what's the deal?
I hope they're going to SmackDown. Yeah. I fear that they're getting like split up in the draft.
Oh, that would not be good.
Just like how petty WWE can be. And
like
they're so openly.
Like, oh yeah, so we gave you what we wanted, but guess what? Like I could totally see that happening.
I could totally see it happening. I also think that maybe that's why the Usos lost the tag titles on SmackDown this week.
You think they're going to get split up?
I could see it. I could see them getting split up in the Superstar shakeup.
Interesting.
Wouldn't surprise me.
It would be interesting to see split up Usos, see what they could do individually.
I really think they'd thrive. I don't know why. I've just always felt that way. I felt like as much as I love them as tag team people, they've kind of come into their own with this new gimmick, and I honestly feel like they would thrive.
I definitely feel like it might, be a good testing ground for them too, because I think they need to get to a point where it's just like they can kind of, see who they are individually.
And also, like most brother tag teams in WWE, I feel like have split up for a while and kind of come back together.
Yeah. The Hardys have done it numerous times.
Which is kind of why I felt like it was like symbolic of them losing to the Hardys. I was almost wondering if that was the point. It was like
right, to show like, look at where these guys go next.
Look at where these guys, they're gonna be like the Hardys now, where they're gonna have to go split up and find their way on their own type thing.
Yeah.
I really like Hawkins and Ryder. I was Ryder. I loved all the Zack Ryder stuff. I was a broski or whatever back then, so I love seeing him get a big WrestleMania moment.
Yeah.
Hawkins too. I think that Hawkins, I liked him before.
Yeah.
I think he really worked hard to get back.
Yeah.
And then he was just like such a loyal company guy that he was willing to lose for 269 matches in a row. Probably not complain about it to anyone.
Yeah.
And I think that it was a good kind of like, hey.
I think he played it on the level that they want people to do a lot of times, where like, this is your role that we have for you right now. And sometimes you got to stick with a kind of a not great role for a long period of time before they actually feel the confidence in you, or that they feel that you've had the amount of loyalty to where they can give you something else.
Whether you've eaten enough crow to where,
or maybe they're just like, just throw him this bone so he sticks around a little bit longer and plays like, this, jobber.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, I didn't have a problem with it at all. What about, when the show started, Hulk Hogan. What did you think about Hulk Hogan?
I didn't like it.
Surprising take.
I didn't like it because I feel like there's a massive disconnect between him and Alexa Bliss. I feel like Alexa Bliss is so young that she's not of a generation that watched the Hulkster. I feel like people shouldn't be pantomiming the Hulkster's motions and stuff like that unless they grew up with him. Like, that's kind of what they tried to make it feel like. And it's like, no. Like, she was a little kid, probably post-Attitude Era. Or she was a kid still at that point. Which means that Hogan only made a couple appearances during that period of time. She would have no connection with him. So it felt hollow to me to have, and it looked hollow. It looked like she was not into it at all when she was doing the Hogan like flexing motions. She didn't look like she knew what she was doing, or looked disinterested.
That was the most that was such like a hardcore Hulk Hogan fan review right there of Alexa Bliss. Like, she didn't pantomime right like Hulk Hogan.
I'm not saying it like to diss her. I'm saying it on a level like, you shouldn't have had her doing that.
No, I agree.
Stephanie McMahon doing Hulk Hogan motions. Get it. She grew up during that period of time. Me doing it, I get it, because I grew up as a kid watching Hulk Hogan. Like, Alexa Bliss just didn't grow up watching him. It rang hollow to me.
No,
and not only that, but like, they had to go back to the Silverdome joke and all that stuff. It felt like, I don't know. When Paul Heyman came out, then I was like,
WrestleMania started.
This is different.
Me too.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I felt too. I felt like it was very forced. It was very just like, we get it. Hulk Hogan's back in WWE.
I'll also add, I'm not impressed enough by Alexa Bliss to be like, I can have a WrestleMania moment at the snap of my finger thing. It's like where I'm like, I was just more kind of like, okay, get this over with.
Yes.
Let's get this over with. So when Paul Heyman came in, I was like, hell yeah, let's get this going.
I feel like that way with usually every host segment. Yeah. When they're doing host segments.
Even with the New Day, I kind of felt like that.
Me too. Like, I just don't need it. Don't need it. It's similar. Like I said, with G1 Supercard. It's a freaking 7-hour show, man. Like,
get to it.
Get to it, man. Like, this served no purpose.
Like, they literally could have cut that whole intro and just had Paul Heyman come out. Hey, they should have had him interrupt America the Beautiful. That would be memorable.
That would have been memorable.
And then they can finish the song after the match.
Brock just throws the title at Yolanda Adams and then says, "Here, bitch, finish the song." Wait, I gotta get another water. Wait, hold on one second. Sorry.
Sure.
Sing Hulk Hogan theme while I'm going or something. You know? I don't know. I am
a real American. Fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American. Fight for your rights. Wait. Fight for your life.
Okay, well done. Sorry about that. Sorry for all of you that had to be subjected to that, but thank you for...
I looked at the camera the entire time.
Good. I'm going to cut that and try and make it into an actual music video for you. See if I can make that happen.
You should cut my voice entirely and just play the Rick Derringer song.
Okay, I'll see what I can do. I ran fast over there. Okay, so the Rollins match. So Heyman came out. did that whole thing.
I was shocked by it, to be honest with you, because it ended faster than I expected it to. I expected it to go longer. But to be honest with you, I kind of like Brock matches like that, though, too.
I do, too.
Like, I think that a Brock that match doesn't need to be formula. Like, there's a couple formulas of Brock match that it seems like they have now. It's like him dominating and him getting dominated. Like, and that's kind of the only way that it, like, because there is, I think,
or
part
would be
of it,
like surprised that he's getting that he's getting offense, that someone's hitting him back.
Yeah, like I mean, I think that's why the Goldberg match actually worked pretty well, was because there was a layer of shock attached to it. It's almost like, hey, you got to beat him fast if you're going to beat him. And I like kind of that they've set that up. It's something that people can go to, because like the longer you go with him, like the less of a chance that you have. But if you can take him out quickly, you can win.
I will say though, I felt like it was a pretty lackluster match as a whole. Though.
No, I mean, it was nothing special.
It was like I do prefer Brock matches like that, but I just don't know how we're supposed to think that he is now better than Brock.
Yeah.
Because he low blowed him like twice and then hit his finish move a couple times. Like to me, it just didn't make me like get behind.
It was
Seth
more
Rollins.
just like, it was less about get behind Seth Rollins and it's more like get Brock Lesnar out of the way. You know, it's just but that having been said, the shock of it ending as early as it did and everything like that, I think that I felt like that set up a good tone for the pace of the event. Obviously, that would change later on and everything too. But I mean, I feel like it got the event, like Heyman coming out and that match ending the way that it did, I definitely feel like got the event going.
Do you think that WrestleMania would best be served being put into 2 nights?
No, I think it would best be served being cut down to 4 hours total. I'll give you 5 hours even, 1 hour for the pre-show. But and that, you know, in the pre-show is obviously someone who's like, you don't have to watch the pre-show. You literally don't have to watch it. They could do the same amount with that. In 4 hours would be a lot, but it would be a lot more palatable at least. No, I would not want to split to 2 nights. It would dilute how special the event is if it was split to 2 nights. It's not like Coachella going to a second weekend or something like that. It's a different kind of event.
Yeah, I just look at it as...
Like, what's the better night then? We're going to have 2 main events of every WrestleMania? I just look at it as if you would end
night 1 with Kofi winning and you would end night 2 with Becky winning.
Yeah.
Then you at least, like... That way, every year, the women main event and the men main event. That way,
I could see
there isn't the same burnout.
But I could see there being, like, serious issues, though, too, with rewrites in the middle of the event then as well.
It's also a good point.
Or not getting everything onto the first night and then having the second night be a complete, just clusterfuck of epic proportions.
You can say fuck. It's okay.
It's okay. I don't need to.
I don't need to. It's okay.
Clusterfuck.
Yeah, no, I think I'm with you on that. As much as I love WrestleMania, I think that Sami Zayn's promo has rang a little true of like the entitled nature of wrestling lately. Like, I don't think they need to just cram as many matches on the show as possible just so that someone's not complaining about their favorite being buried.
Yeah.
That
was a great promo, by the way.
Such a good promo.
Yeah.
And it's like, how much to boo that guy now? I agree with everything he said.
That's the funny thing is just like, if I cheer him, I'm booing myself. That's like the most. That's such an interesting turn.
I love the way they did that.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, the Miz match, Miz and Shane, it was more satisfying than I expected.
Yeah,
I have really not cared about this feud, and I think that it at least we got fun moments out of it. We got Miz dad duking up with Shane, which was hilarious. And it's funny that tower spot. On TV, the way they shot it. Because they like shot it from like above and far away, they made it look like a lot bigger than it was.
Yeah.
Because even in person, I went, whoa, like that looks crazy. And then when I rewatched it, and I also went and I found a video on Reddit of someone that was sitting right next to the pad, and it didn't look high at all.
Yeah.
Like it looked like I didn't even look scared of doing it. I was like, oh, actually, it looked kind of fun. That looked really kind of cool to do, Like clearly there's a giant pad here, so but I think that it was more pleasing than I expected.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like how it ended too.
Yeah.
Like I'm not super invested in Miz or Shane, so Shane McMahon winning, I'm just like, not a big deal. It's part of the story.
Yeah, and it was funny the way they did it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Backfired.
Miz's dad is the best part of the match.
It really was.
Yeah.
Miz's dad's great.
Yeah,
Big fan.
He has no point, like no Like, he should not be in the ring.
No,
the fact that he got in there, I was like, he really does love his son, and he is proud of him.
It's the best.
Yeah.
We all need a Miz dad.
Yeah.
Iconics winning the tag titles. For all of you watching, listening. I'm so sorry I wasn't here this week. Just know, I know you guys are bummed that we didn't get to hear Roka freak the fuck out over this, but I was so sick. I really, really wanted to see Roka freaking out in person, and it's probably going to be a little less cool now because a week has passed.
Yeah.
But he's like so anti the Iconics. He literally like had a meltdown over this. Like, he was texting real mean things to me and a mutual friend of ours. He was like saying how untalented they are and all this stuff. And I couldn't agree less with him. I think he's so wrong in terms of the Iconics. I like the Iconics.
Yeah.
I feel like they have been putting over everyone since day one.
Why do you think they took the titles off of?
Why do I think?
Yeah, off of Bayley and Sasha.
I want to say that maybe, I don't want to say attitude. That's not the right word. I feel like maybe,
like, I mean, they just put. I guess they don't need the straps when it comes down to it. Like, they had their moment. They got they're in the record books now.
Yeah.
Like, why not give another team the rub?
I want to say what I think it is what I hope it is, was merely balancing the heel and face ratio of winners.
Yeah.
I think that there would have been too many face teams winning.
Yeah.
There were a lot of faces
face wins,
winning.
yeah.
A lot of faces were going over on this show.
Yeah.
I think you kind of needed a heel win.
I was surprised that AJ Styles won, actually.
Me too.
Yeah.
I felt like it would have been an easier situation for Randy Orton to win. It would have been a tick up the heel win category at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I was also very surprised of that. I think it's the same reason that Shane ended up winning in that weird spotlight. They're like, well, we've got too many faces going over. Oh, I know. Shane just drops his hand over Miz after the fall.
Oh, I know.
Oh, I know. You know? So I that's my hope. But I do know from what I've heard, like, they didn't seem too happy about it. They really, the Sasha and Bayley didn't seem very happy about losing the tag titles.
Yeah.
I think they had felt like they had been promised
like a run,
and don't feel like they got it. But at the same time, like,
I mean, that's the WWE.
That's the WWE. It's exactly what I was gonna say. Is that, like, that's wrestling, man? Like, you know, like, whatever serves the show better, you know. And I do think that the Iconics winning made the most sense. They've been on their back since they got in WWE.
Yeah.
They've been an actual team since day one, way longer than the Boston Hug Connection.
I also hate the name Boston Hug Connection.
Hate the name the Boston Hug Connection.
So stupid.
It's so stupid. I think that, it's just like, you know, I think that it made more sense too. It really did make the most sense in my opinion.
Yeah.
Also, like, it's not like they got a clean win. I don't know why that Sasha and Bayley would be like that mad about it. They literally swooped in on a WWE Hall of Famer's finishing move and got the win that way. Yeah. Like, sneakiest heel way of winning. You know, it's not like they like pinned them clean.
I think you're right too that they are, of all the people in that match, they're the only actual team that's not just cobbled together. You're right. They came in as a team, you know, whether you wanted to look at them specifically as a team or as a group, you know, that's for you to decide. But like they've known each other for a long time. They've been a team for a long time. Like there's not really tag teams like that much anymore outside of like the men.
Yeah. Like Sky Pirates kind of, but even them, like they were like they didn't come in together. Yeah. Like Billy and Peyton have been like a team since the very because we really saw them in NXT, like the iconic duo or whatever, you know. So I liked it. I was a fan of it. All right, Kofi Kingston. I mean, this was so good.
Yeah,
I rewatched it today, and it's funny because I got a lot of shit during this match. I guess I fucked up. I don't know. I didn't see it that way. Here's my thing. I don't look at spoilers as that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Like, who's going to win or not? It's wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's because I cover it for a living, and so I hear all the time who's going to win before it actually happens. Like, hearing who's going to win before it actually happens doesn't bother me that much. I just like to see how it's going to be executed. So, I think that I have a jaded view of a different view of spoilers.
Yeah.
So I didn't think I was screwing everybody. and ruining one of the matches. But during the show, and I don't know if you saw this, but like during the show, right when the Kofi title match started, someone in the press room next to me was like, dude, if you look on WWE.com, they've already uploaded a shirt for Kofi winning. And I was like, really? And I look, and like when you search New Day, the auto thing that comes up had, it's a new champ, yes it is, shirt. But when you click on it, you can't go there yet.
Oh.
And I was like, well, that was real stupid on their part, you know? So I felt like that was incredibly newsworthy that WWE accidentally spoiled the winner of this match. So I tweeted it saying, like, WWE Championship spoiler ahead. For real, don't look if you don't want to know. And I did spaces, and then I put the picture in there, and I said, like, WWE spoiled the match, whatever, blah, blah. Hundreds of just, like, angry responses. Like, why would you ruin the match for me? Like, just so many of, like, I can't even repeat all of them, but lots of really mean things. Like, horrible insults thrown my way. And I was like, I didn't think this is that video. Also, I said, spoiler, like, why would you keep reading if you thought that there was going to be a spoiler that followed? And they're like, well, I didn't read that part. And it's like,
watch the match.
Also, watch the match if it really bothers you that much.
If you have the time to write hateful stuff to Ryan Satin during the match that you're complaining about, it's just like you should be watching the match.
Just watch the match.
Yeah, invest in it.
So, made it a little difficult for me to watch because I was just getting so much hate at the time. But I did go back and watch it today, and God, that match was great.
Yeah.
Even me knowing who was going to win, I was still falling for the near falls. Like, I really was. I'll be honest with you. There was one point today where I was watching the match, and it was when, like, I was there. I watched it happen. I knew Kofi won. It's been days since.
Yeah.
Lots has happened. But I love that even while rewatching it, there was that moment where Kofi was going to do the Trouble in Paradise, but when he started to run at him, Daniel hit him with the knee instead. And I went like, oh, damn. And then like he went for the pin, and I literally went like, no, when I knew what was going to happen.
That's awesome.
And so that's how great that match was, honestly.
Yeah.
I think that
props to Kofi. Obviously, and props to Brian, too. I knew Brian was going to put over Kofi because that's the kind of person that he is, the kind of wrestler that he is, and he can recognize what a big moment that is and what it was. It was emotional. It was a legit. I felt, it's funny to have watched wrestling for so long now and to watch wrestlers for so long. And I said this a couple different times during WrestleMania when people were texting me. And I remember I said, like, I'm so proud of Ricochet. And I said it later on. I was like, I'm so proud of Kofi Kingston because when you see somebody who deserves to be in that spot exceed your expectations and get awarded with what they deserve, with what they work so hard for, it's such a beautiful thing. Kofi Kingston has worked so long. He's been such a good company man that entire time too, and has been there, has created moments, and just like he did deserve it, and he does deserve it, and whether this lasts for months, weeks, whatever, however long it lasts, like it's sweet that it happened. I'm really stoked about that.
I also think that
I legit thought that he was going to lose the title on Monday, actually, when they did that.
I was so worried.
I mean, like that seemed like I was like, this is what they do.
I actually think if they end up going back to that, since they kind of teased like we're going to do this again, I actually think Kofi will win.
Ooh, okay.
I don't know why. I just had this hunch.
Wow.
I actually wasn't feeling that way. If anything, I was feeling the opposite.
I was feeling the opposite. I was like, oh, they're going to do this to Kofi already?
Well, I heard that Rollins was nursing an injury.
Yeah.
So that's why my thought process went there, because we knew he was a little bit injured before the Brock match, and then I had heard he was nursing an injury after WrestleMania, so I thought maybe like this might be because of the injury and they just want to get the title off Brock.
Yeah.
But I don't know at this point. Still, I'm still working on it. But with Kofi, I also think that the other important part of it is just that, like, dude, like, there's a lot of minority kids who watch that looking at it being like, man, there's a guy like me now who did it, I mean, like, everyone goes like, well, don't undermine people like Mark Henry and Booker T and that. But Booker T even said Kofi Kingston the first black, first African-American WWE champion.
Yeah, from Africa, isn't he?
He's the first African-American WWE champion, and so, it's a big moment. It's a huge thing for a lot of people, and
absolutely.
so just all around great. even if superstar Billy Graham is trying to poo-poo the moment with all his shitty Facebook updates.
Superstar, like, I mean, again, like Booker T took him to task on this thing.
Yeah.
And took him to task with, like, because, if our listeners aren't as aware of the story, Superstar has been waylaying, through his Facebook messages or posts or whatever the hell they are, just talking about how Kofi Kingston advising him to take steroids to add 40 to 50 pounds of muscle. And it's just stuff like, it sounds like an old wrestler who's stuck in his own silo. You can't freely comment on his stuff. You have to be a follower of his page.
No, you can.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I should have told Eli that.
No,
He's just going to start leaving such mean messages.
I don't care to, because I read some of those replies and I was like, man, this is a real sad silo that superstar Billy Graham lives in. And, so he made all these comments about Kofi Kingston, and Booker T took him to task. I can't recall on what show it was.
Booker T has a show called The Hall of Fame with Booker T and Brad Gilmore that's on ESPN Radio in Houston. You can also hear it on HallOfFamePodcast.com. But yeah, he went off. I mean, to kind of additional details on what Eli was talking about here. Superstar had said, I urge you to start doing some steroids and add about 50 pounds of solid muscle to your championship body. Vince won't care, honestly. Actually, he would be quite pleased with the muscular transformation. And, I mean, Booker T was just not happy. He said, these old guys need to wake up and realize that their era is over. To bring steroids into a conversation as far as what a man needs to do to get to the top in the wrestling business, man, there's more to life in the wrestling business. What about your health? They got a wellness policy now. They're trying to keep these guys alive. We lost so many soldiers along the way because of steroids and drugs. And for this man to say another man needs to get on drugs to become successful, he is successful. He's the WWE champion.
Yeah.
And he also lists off all of Billy Graham's medical problems.
Yeah, his recent ones that have been the last 10 years. And
directly because of steroid use.
And it's just like... Again, I think that Superstar lives in a silo. I think that, he probably gets positive feedback as he chooses to receive it. And so, like, and not only that, but he's a carny, and he's a mark for himself, too. So it's like, of course, he's going to say, you should be more like me. And it's just like, Superstar Billy Graham, you don't have any WrestleMania moments because you've never performed at a WrestleMania on the level that somebody like Kofi Kingston has. I don't even think he's ever had a match on a WrestleMania. I think he was like a manager at WrestleMania 4. So it's just like, for him to say anything to Kofi Kingston, I get it. Superstar Billy Graham was a big deal in the 70s, and that was a long time ago. Everything has changed since then. Television, live events, social media, the internet. Everything is different from then. The athleticism in the ring, the way the ring is constructed, everything is different. So he doesn't necessarily...
Information available on drug use.
Exactly. They don't take steroids anymore because there's a wellness policy that closely guards them from doing so. And I say guard because it's helping them. It's keeping them safe.
That's what I hate to be on Billy, to say anything on Billy Graham's side, but he does mention the fact that, he said something like, I know there's a wellness policy, but don't tell me that, the part-timers don't use steroids. Obviously they use steroids. Triple H didn't get in that shape without using steroids. Brock Lesnar's not that size without steroids.
I don't know if I agree with him, dude. Steroids is a broad term.
True.
I feel like
very much so.
And I feel like Superstar Billy Graham's interpretation of these things, of ways that people work out, just even let's say the way that exercise in a gym is done these days. I'm not saying that people still use barbells and things like that Superstar Billy Graham used, but there's different training techniques. I guarantee you, Superstar Billy Graham was going to the beat of his own drum, probably from what he had learned at Muscle Beach or whatever his fictional backstory is, and so, but the WWE has trainers and they have people John Cena was a bodybuilder before that, and I get that bodybuilders have used steroids in the past and that it has been a problematic thing, but it's just I wouldn't go out and immediately say that Brock Lesnar is on steroids either. Although I know he did get busted for
I was
something.
Gonna say, I wouldn't really say.
But I mean, but
steroids
as a broad term, he used to say performance-enhancing drugs at least.
Agreed. Doctor of Thugonomics. Did you like it?
Yeah.
Really?
I was never really into the Doctor of Thugonomics gimmick, and
you didn't like the whole rapping thing back in the day?
Not really. It was kind of. There have been 2 to 3 periods in my life where I stopped watching wrestling for chunks of time, and the Thugonomics gimmick happened during that period.
Yeah, I'm with you that.
And to go back and watch it, I'm like, oh, this is the start of John Cena's the way he dresses that I hate.
Yeah, that's fair.
The jean shorts.
That is very fair.
And I was like, the jean shorts came from the Doctor of Thugonomics, and it was always my least favorite part of Cena's whole getup.
Doctor of Thugonomics was also one of my brief hiatuses from wrestling, and his title win as like John Cena is really when I came back into it.
Same.
And so I was a little bit the same way. I always laughed at like wigger dudes who tried to put on a thick like street accent or whatever when we've heard John Cena talk. He doesn't talk like that, you know? So I always did kind of...
And he knew his hair was underneath there too.
I know, that is the problem.
Silly old man John Cena hair. It's not even old. I shouldn't even say it like that.
No,
That's slick back, classy John.
You know, he's got that classy look under that.
Classy Cena's underneath that cap. I know it. Take it off, John.
And I felt like the Babe Ruth stuff was a little like cheesy, kind of.
Also, there was part of me too that kind of felt like, didn't John Cena and Elias have a spat last WrestleMania?
They did.
Yeah, and so it's just kind of like, this is it. This is what you went with.
Yeah, felt the same way, kind of.
Yeah.
I did. I felt the same way.
It just wasn't. It wasn't that special.
Wasn't
to me.
that exciting?
And also, it's not like John Cena's been gone so long that his cameo feels like Stone Cold making a cameo or Mick Foley making a cameo or something along those lines. You know, it feels more like, but you haven't been away long enough. You still feel like you should be here.
And also, like, let's be honest. If you were gonna do retro John Cena, why wouldn't you have done retro John Cena for when he debuted with Kurt Angle?
Yeah.
Why would you give fans what they want? I get it. You don't want to be too predictable, but come on. That's what fans wanted.
Yeah.
So
fans would have marked out over that.
Fans would have gone crazy for that.
Yeah, nothing against Baron Corbin saying that either.
And you could have done the Undertaker Elias thing at WrestleMania instead of the Raw after Mania.
Yeah.
Or just not done it because it was a 7-hour show.
Yeah.
Batista match. I think that it was good for what it was.
Yeah.
When I rewatched it today, I liked it much more than I did while I was there.
Yeah.
And I think this lends further to what I was saying of just like the burnout of just like, if this hadn't have been near the end of a 7-hour show, people would have been way more into it, I think.
Yeah, no, like, I mean, I feel the same way as you. Like, I should probably go back and rewatch it. But as it stands, I was just kind of like, all right, let's get this over with.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, I know it's going to be 25 minutes. Let's get this over with.
Yeah.
Let's get to the main event.
And that shouldn't have been Batista's retirement match. Shouldn't have been that way. You shouldn't have been hoping for Batista's retirement match to end soon. You know, it's just kind of like, to me.
But I feel like his retirement match, like, I mean, I feel like this has been such an odd run with him. You know, the whole storyline of how he came in and just like the limited appearances, the limited like sharing of information and everything like that. It felt in a lot of ways like Triple H went along with it because he knew it would get him on the card, not because he thought it was a great idea.
I kind of feel the same way.
And
it was kind of like I don't have anything else.
Yeah.
And we need a big attraction for WrestleMania, so okay.
Yeah.
I did like that we got a payoff of the nose ring thing.
Yeah.
I love that nose ring thing was all done just for that spot.
Yeah.
Because everyone was like, when he first came with the nose ring, like, oh, he's got a nose ring now? You know? So it was nice how that was all done just to set up this pulling out of his nose spot.
Batista's tattoos were very distracting to me.
It's funny. I always love when there's something distracting going on TV and then seeing traffic on my site go up for a certain story. And there's a story about Batista got his dogs tattooed on him. And that story was like at the top of everyone looking at it. Because everyone was like, what are Batista's tattoos? Like, yeah, they were a little bit, right?
Yeah. I mean, you know, he can do whatever he wants. Like,
Batista.
It's Batista. Like, I got nothing but respect for Big Dave.
Me too.
Like, I mean, he's a cool dude. He's a great actor. He's like had a legendary wrestling career. All the props in the world. I didn't expect much from their match at all.
Me neither.
I really did.
I felt like
I haven't expected anything from Triple H since he wrestled The Undertaker in the Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania 28.
I really feel like this match should have had much more gaga. Like it should have had way more run-ins and people involved.
Yeah, right? Like, it's a perfect match for it.
Ric Flair should have gotten involved so much earlier than he did. There should have been way more just like stuff happening.
Ric Flair like laid his head on Triple H's shoulder after the match, and he looked like such a damsel in distress. I remember looking at him being like, "Aw."
Yeah, he did. Absolutely. Okay, well, let's get to the main event before I get pushed out of here, because now they really are making me leave.
Okay.
Becky winning, obviously the right move.
Yeah.
But once again, like, and I know we laughed about it before, but I do think the audience was fatigued by this point.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone.
You know what's funny is like that happened this WrestleMania. It happened last WrestleMania too when Brock pulled out the W over Roman Reigns. I was so fatigued at this point. Also, pretty full from all the food I'd eaten. Also drunk. Because I drank beers all through the event, and it's a long event.
Yeah.
And I was being responsible about it. But even at that point, I remember like seeing the end of the last two main events, I remember just being like, wait, what? Is the event over? What's going on here? And again, part of that's on me for being in the state that I was. But also, it's just kind of like, WrestleMania shouldn't end like that. WrestleMania should have it should feel super definitive. Like you
Agreed.
Finish something. And naturally, the Becky finish compared to like last year's finish, I do feel like was a lot more definitive. It also ended with a moment of uncertainty.
That's what I mean.
And it pulled take a lot away from me.
It should have been tapping out.
Yeah.
I mean, Ronda tapping out was the moment. That was the moment. I mean, that's what all of this has been building towards. The fact that they did it on a crucifix, shoulders up mistake aside, because that was a mistake. From what I was heard, that was a ref mistake. He should have waited a second to start over again, and done the 3 count. It wasn't like Ronda going into business for herself, from what I hear, or anything like that. But I just feel like it was silly to even do a pinfall. I mean, the fact that it was a surprise pinfall, like a roll-up, basically, is silly. I mean, it's the main event of WrestleMania. It shouldn't have been the whole Ronda standing up and looking unhappy and confused shouldn't have happened. It should have been Ronda holding her arm, finally realized that wrestling was real.
Because she got the crap kicked out of her in that match.
Because she got the crap kicked out of her. She should have been like, my hand's broken. My arm hurts. Wrestling is not real. That is what the message that should have been there with Becky 2 Belt standing up at the end there. And instead, that's not the message that we got at the end of the show. And it was an uncertainty, like you said.
Yeah.
And that's a bad look. I mean, that shouldn't have been the way that show ended.
Like, I feel like you should go to bed after WrestleMania either stoked or pissed off, not befuddled. Not like what the, really?
Yes.
And again, it's just like, it wasn't bad, but it's WrestleMania, and it's just like we need kind of more of a period or an exclamation point or even bigger question mark.
And I did hear, I know there was rumors going on prior to the weekend, but I did hear from sources that like Ronda didn't want to tap. Yeah. That it was a Ronda call. Ronda was like, I've said that this move wasn't strong. I'm not going to tap to it. And that they were trying to figure out how they were going to go about it instead.
Yeah.
I will say this. I want to say props to Charlotte. I think Charlotte did carry that match. Yeah. Charlotte was the main constant throughout that match.
Absolutely. That's why they added her to the match. I understand why everybody had a bone to pick with it, because they're like, it should be these two women. I firmly believe that Becky and Ronda Rousey couldn't have pulled off a WrestleMania caliber main event together. They needed Charlotte in there because Charlotte is the best female wrestler alive. And I would say she's on the top of the list of wrestlers alive right now, if not at the top of it. Like, to not have her in there would be a disservice to the main event. It will forever be a good match because of her involvement.
Absolutely. I could not agree more with that. I think
she's a ring general.
She is 100% a ring general, and she is 100%. She earned that spot, and she showed it in that match.
Yeah.
I mean, she killed it in multiple different
Charlotte
spots.
has a layer of intensity that I believe, and I can't say that for everybody else on the roster.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that also, as much as I complain about the length of the show, I do think they needed a few more minutes between Ronda and Becky. I mean, I get it, what we just said about Charlotte, but I think that really, for the fan service, fans did want to see Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
And I think that you easily could have given them 5 minutes of just letting them wail on each other before that finish came about, because it was really fast. The finish came about once it came down to the two of them.
It was. I think that's why people expected it to be a botch or something like that too.
Correct. So okay, WrestleMania as a whole, what would you rate it?
6.
6 out of 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that sounds fair.
I've rated the last couple around 6 too. It's the bloated length that really takes it down.
Yeah, and for those of you who were like, hey, you didn't mention a few other matches. I know, but they were kind of unimportant, and it wasn't like huge important things. And I had so much ground to cover, so I know that other matches happened, like Balor and the Usos and all that kind of stuff.
Real stoked that Ricochet made the card, and Alistair, that's awesome stuff.
Yep, absolutely. I would also kind of rate it the same way. I think that, while I really enjoyed almost all the matches, I really did. At the end of the day, just the length really just
kills it.
It kills it. You can't be excited by the time the main event happens, and that's like the opposite of what you want. All these matches are supposed to get you hyped for the main event, not get you tired before the main event starts. Okay, we don't got a couple minutes, but just real fast. We don't got full conversation time. Lars debut. What'd you think about it on the Raw?
I loved it. I think that both shows he came across as a monster. He is physically intimidating. I'm stoked to see more from him.
Agreed. I think that Lars, I'm glad it all worked out for him. I'm glad they're going to get him on the road again. I think it's easier to start at the Raw after Mania than to have your first big match be at Mania. Yeah. And they really did showcase him well. They acted like they never had any time off. They acted like they never stopped airing those vignettes.
I'm stoked with the way they handled it and everything.
Me too.
He came across super imposing.
Me too. Undertaker surprise for Elias. Yeah. Should have happened to Mania.
I'm like, it's nothing new.
Agreed. Sami Zayn pipe bomb. We kind of talked about that for a second.
Loved it. Looking forward to seeing what comes next.
Buzzard in a box. That weird.
I don't know what the heck to make of that. To be honest with you, it's.
Are you intrigued though?
40% positively, yes. 60% negatively.
60% of you think?
I have no clue. I mean, let's see what happens.
I mean, I think it's Sister Abigail.
Okay.
I think that's why it's a box and it's got smoke coming out of it because we saw Randy burn Sister Abigail down. So I'm guessing the ground that she was in is still burning, and that's why she's in this burning box.
I don't trust them to have that kind of continuity within their own product, but I'm glad that you do.
Lacey finally having some payoff with the walkouts.
My favorite part of Raw.
So good.
I'm so stoked to see where this goes. I literally thought while I was driving home from work yesterday, I was like, I thought this Lacey Evans catwalk walkout thing was so stupid, and they paid it off with that punch in the face. That punch, and I will tell you this, she's physically imposing.
She's a Marine.
Just looking at her stance and everything, I'm so stoked about this. Like Lacey, this is going to sound real cheesy what I'm going to say, but Lacey Evans is like everything I love about a woman.
I can see that. That really is like your ideal.
I'm way into it.
Yeah, that's your ideal woman for sure. I like that the move that they're calling it the woman's right now.
That's awesome.
That's so good.
That's incredible.
That's such a good name for a finisher.
I will say, the way they set up, and I'm sure you have a couple other things you want to quickly ask about, but the way they set up going forward from WrestleMania, I'm stoked about.
Me too. I really feel like that was one of the best ones because I was the same way. You were like, God, all these NXT calls have been so dumb. Like, what are these stupid Lacey Evans walkouts? And I don't know if that was the plan from day one, but the fact that they made it work into a way that you go like, okay, that ended up being awesome.
I know she was in the Rumble and that she's had all these walkouts, but that was her true debut.
Yeah.
To me.
Oh yeah.
That was where I was like, she's a star.
Yep. Absolutely. Bait and switch winner take all match. That was so dick of them to do.
I mean, it just because I was so pumped up because it felt like something was huge was about to happen.
Raw after Mania.
And so to have it kind of taken away and not even be that big of a deal, it was kind of just like, that was no bueno.
Yeah, I was glad I flew home on Monday.
Yeah.
That would have made me so mad if I had stayed home and that was like what they did to me. Like I was like all pumped thinking I was going to see two titles be merged or whatever. Yeah. And then that happens. Oh, I would have been furious if I was there. I'd have been so mad. I get why those fans started chanting AEW and stuff like that.
For
sure. Paige teasing managing a tag team on SmackDown after Mania.
I'm into it. She needs something to do. I like having Paige around.
I fear that it's just going to be Mandy and Sonya.
Yeah.
But I hope that it's someone cool from NXT.
I like Mandy and Sonya a lot. I'd be okay with it. You know,
I just feel like it's going back to what they were already doing when they're already kind of past it.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that they can make it new. Like I think that they can play it different. Now, you know, they've been separated from Paige for a long time, so like I feel like they can play it like a new thing.
All right, and we already talked about Hardy's winning the tag title, so I'm gonna get out of here before Remsen gets mad at me. Eli, where can people find you on social media?
Twitter at Elijah Bates, Instagram at Brindlebeard.
ProWrestlingSheet.com, that's the website. YouTube.com/C/WrestlingSheet. That's where all the videos are that we put up. I did not put in this week, but this will be going up there now. If you want to watch or if you want to listen to our audio when we're back in action next week throughout the week, make sure you go subscribe on iTunes, on Spotify, on Podcast One. All the different podcast platforms. Make sure you guys go subscribe there. You just search Wrestling Sheet Radio. Okay, that's it. We're done. Officially tapping out for now. My voice is dead. Until next time, stay out of the dirt. Keep your eye on the sheet.